all fun and games till someone gets shot.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, I want to talk about Jin and Kazuya. I think their dynamic is so interesting, and I really just want to try to dissect what we've seen in the trailer and compare it to statements made in the past. Before I do that, however, so I made a Twitter account because I wanted to be able to better follow the news and like Twitter and all that stuff, right? The reason why I'm mentioning this is because I did link it to my YouTube account, but I didn't really say anything, but people are starting to click on that and follow, and people are also starting to @ me on Twitter. Right now, I'm not sure how active I'm going to be on Twitter. Right now, I haven't posted anything, but if you do want to go follow on Twitter, you can. But I thought I would mention that because I was really surprised to see Tekken Gamer, what is this called, @ me or respond to me, I don't know, and then also Arcade Press. So that was really cool to see. The next thing that I want to talk about is banning people. I know I made a little joke about this in a different video, and the comment section was like, wait, what? Banning people? A lot of people was wondering if they were banned. The only time I ban people is when what they're saying is just so toxic. But all that stuff aside, let's talk about Tekken. The part in the trailer that caught my eye immediately, this was something I was like, wow. Jin tells Kazuya, and now when I first seen the trailer, I thought Jin said people like you, but he says us, and the fact that he says us is powerful. I want you guys to really know that this is like powerful. And what's even crazier too is how Kazuya responds. I have a little excerpt here from the Tekken wiki that really explains why these two characters are responding this way. And it really all goes back to Heihachi and what he did. I was explaining to one of my friends the other day how Heihachi, yes, his girlfriend slash wife betrayed him. Kazumi has the devil gene and she tried to attack and kill him randomly. And that probably traumatized Heihachi in some unknown way. He already was this very power hungry and destructive person, but I think that was the first time he ever was betrayed by family. And once he found out she had the devil gene, of course, he immediately turned his sights on Kazuya, and that's when he threw him off the mountain, right? So Heihachi kind of started all of this, but at the same time, you could say that maybe his hand was forced in a way. I would like to see an alternate reality where Heihachi does to Kazuya what Jun does to Jin, because Jun, I have to imagine she knows Jin has the devil gene, but what does she do? She teaches him to be calm, to be patient, to control your anger. I wonder what the story would look like if Heihachi tried to do the same to Kazuya. That's what's really fascinating about the Tekken franchise. You have one character who will do something, and then they'll put another character in that same exact situation and they'll respond totally different. Jun and Heihachi, they responded very differently to their kids being possessed by the devil gene, the devil, right? Let's read this. Despite their similarities, Jin was a more caring character in contrast to his mean-spirited father. This was a result of their different upbringings. That line right there is the reason why I just started comparing Heihachi and Jun, because we see how Jin turned out and we see how Kazuya turned out. However, both ended up becoming more alike as characters because of their dark stories, like their shared antagonism for Heihachi Mishima. And this is kind of fascinating. I always say Ogre showing up is one of the most important moments in Tekken. I don't care about Tekken 6 and the World War, Azel, and all those other things really does not triumph what Ogre did. Jun Kazama and Kazuya were farthest apart from being the same person, but Jun Kazama got removed from the picture, and me in the live stream, we were trying to figure out why on God's earth did Jun tell Jin to go to Heihachi. Was there no one else she can send him to? Like, we know Asuka's dad is her cousin. Maybe that could have been an option, but at the same time, you know, they're cousins, not siblings, so that's a big ask. But other than Jun's cousin, which is Asuka's father, I don't know who else she could have sent Jin to. So maybe Heihachi would have been the only option. And since Jun sent Jin to Heihachi, both Kazuya and Jin has been sort of battling him for the past 4 or 5 years, right? All the way up into Tekken 7. And both of those characters dealing with Heihachi, it made them the same in a way. They started off in the same position. The people who raised them made them different, and then Heihachi made them the same once again. It's so cool to like dissect the story and see how everything goes. This would further corrupt Jin, but in a different way than his father. Rather than destroying the world like his relatives, Jin instead wishes to end the Mishima bloodline and himself in the process. There's so much to dissect and break down here because it's so I seen on Twitter there was this big argument, and it basically was saying, what did Kazuya do wrong? Kazuya is considered the villain of the Tekken franchise, but he kind of did less than both Heihachi. In reality, right, if you were just an average civilian in the Tekken universe, you would think Jin is the worst person out of all of them. That's why in Tekken 7 he's being hunted by the UN. The whole story of Tekken 7, Master Raven and the United Forces, I think it's called, is chasing Jin because he is the monster. He started World War, and it specifically said that he made it as worse as possible to summon Azel. Imagine all the destruction he was causing. And then Heihachi, we already know he had no issue with shooting a laser from the sky at the G Corporation building to kill Kazuya and Akuma. So you guys can tell me this. At the end, when Kazuya fights Akuma, I saw some people saying that that fight is not canon. And if it's not canon, the last time Akuma is seen in the story is when the satellite blows up the building. So we have to ask ourselves, Kazuya survives by going into the devil gene, Devil Kazuya. But how would Akuma survive that? The moral of the story, Heihachi bombed the building to try and kill his son and Akuma. Imagine how many other people was in that like 24 story building. He probably killed thousands. So really, when you're talking about Jin, Kazuya, and Heihachi, I think Kazuya has done the least in comparison to the world. But at the same time too, Kazuya was in control in Tekken 2. And also Kazuya has been operating in the background. We don't know exactly how much he's done because it's never stated. Like, we can see what Heihachi's done and we can see what Jin's done, but we don't know what Kazuya's done because the story of Tekken 2 isn't that fleshed out. And then also he's been operating as the ghost leader of G Corporation. So he's kind of been using G Corporation as his puppet to do whatever. It's not clearly stated how much he did. We do know in Tekken 7 he was outed as a devil. Everyone knows, and they were trying to figure out what to do with him, how to stop him. And I think that's why he's going to keep fighting. I already did a video. It was like 2 minutes or a minute or something like that. But basically, at the end of Tekken 7, Jin, Lars, Lee, and Alyssa, they're standing on top of the rooftop and they physically say G Corporation is continuing the war. They're attacking everyone. Jin Kazama, you're the only one who can stop them. And I think the reason why he's attacking everyone is because the jig is up. Not only has he been revealed to be the leader of G Corporation, but also he's been outed as a devil and they want to get him. So he's kind of trying to get everyone before they can mobilize and attack him in a way. That's just what I was thinking about all of this stuff. But the second part, and I know it's kind of funny to do all this talking and then say, but this second half of the sentence is why I wanted to do the video. But this second half of the sentence is why I wanted to do the video. When it says Jin intended to end the Mishima bloodline and end himself in the process, that's very powerful. I can't say the word on YouTube because this video will get immediately demonetized, but it starts with an S and it ends with an E. Yoshimitsu has the seppuku. It's basically that. That is what Jin wishes to do after he eliminates Kazuya. And honestly, I wonder how the Hydro clan will function into this. Well, two things. It specifically states the Mishima bloodline. So it kind of seems like as of yet, the Hydro clan is not on his radar because they kind of been operating as ghosts. For as long as he's been alive, they haven't really did anything but send Akuma and have Kazumi betray Heihachi. Those are the only two things they've done, and that was through a third party. One thing that's been on my mind since Tekken 7 introduced the Hydro clan is why they never took action. Yes, they sent Akuma all those years ago, but they have the Devil Gene, right? Kazumi was not supposed to create kids with Heihachi because she's spreading the Devil Gene. You'd think they would have some kind of rule saying that you can't do that. You can't just go and just start having babies with anyone because you're spreading the Devil Gene. You're spreading the power. The Hydro clan, they have the Devil Gene too, but they don't go around attacking and destroying like Jin and Kazuya. They really have been non-existent for the longest, and you wonder why they don't step in to stop someone who's abusing their power. So Kazumi had kids, right? And they are using the power that the Hydro clan gave them for their own purpose. And you wonder why the Hydro clan didn't send one of their best warriors. Well, of course Akuma, but even then Akuma took way too long to show up. You'd think they would have sent someone way sooner to stop them. In Tekken 8, if they keep on talking about the Hydro clan, that's either going to be the greatest plot hole in Tekken history, or it's going to be the greatest benefit. Because Kazumi, there really is a lot of mystery there. Why did she all of a sudden betray Heihachi? Why did she knowingly have a kid with Heihachi, knowing that that kid will have the Devil Gene? Why did she do that? And then later send Akuma to try and kill that kid. It's like if she just never went, the story wouldn't have happened. None of this would have happened. Yes, you still would have Heihachi, this power hungry person on the loose, but you wouldn't have demons and stuff involved. I can't really remember the quote, but basically, I'll try to show a screenshot if I can find it. But basically it says, when you try your hardest to prevent something from happening, that is when you unintentionally make it happen. For example, Kazumi wanted to stop Heihachi from being a maniac. The Hydro clan feared he would do crazy things in the future. Kazumi shows up and she gives him all of the motivation to do those crazy things. Betray him, create kids that also are just as evil as her. It's a mouthful. It's a mouthful. But going back to Jin, I see it going both ways. Some of the community believes that there's no way Jin will kill Kazuya in Tekken 8, and there's some people who feel like it's destined to happen. I don't think they'll do that because that would cut the story so short so fast. If they really intended to kill Kazuya, I think they would spread it over 1 to 2 games. That's just what I think. But if they really wanted to get rid of this whole family feud, as Harada called it in the past, then they may just pull the trigger on it and get rid of both of Kazuya and Heihachi, but then kind of have them on the roster still. I really don't agree with that. I know in these videos I went back and forth. In one video I'll say Heihachi is cool, make him Mecha Heihachi. And in another video I will say, nah, don't do Mecha Heihachi, that's stupid, just put him on the base roster. But really, if I was in charge, I would not have Heihachi on the roster at all. I would really let his death be felt. I would really try to raise Kazuya up to be this true villain.
You need to start killing people. This is ridiculous. And also the Duffer Brothers are too sensitive Sallys that don't want to kill anyone off. We need to be Game of Thrones. We need to have the mindset of Game of Thrones.
It's not just Bloodlust, the 18-year-old actor championed. She knows what we all know, that some characters need to die. People latch onto their childhood heroes so much they are outraged by every change. But without change, we're left with stagnant stories and characters.
A lot of the people think that Tekken will have a happily ever after, right? If Jin could defeat Kazuya, then him and Xiaoyu can have kids and they can, go to the parks and all these, fairy tale Disney princess stuff. But that's not what Jin is gonna do. Soon as Jin defeats Kazuya, he's gonna pull a Kratos.
My vengeance ends now.
Kratos, no!
And this is why I think the incorporation of Jun Kazama can be a curveball. Maybe, just maybe, if Jun Kazama shows up, that can give Jin another reason to live. Because he does have Xiaoyu in a way, and if they incorporate her into the story, which it seems like they're trying to do, because Claudio is using her as bait, so maybe that will make Jin realize how much he really does care for that character. So that's one way to give him a reason for living, right, Xiaoyu. But then his mother being alive is another reason. You can also see too, in Tekken 8, Jin is wearing new pants. The pants that he had in the past were explained to us in Tekken Bloodline. The flames represent Jun Kazama like dying in that fire explosion in that battle with Ogre. When he woke up and saw the flames, that is like fried into his memory, and that's why he put it on his pants to remember it. But in this game, he doesn't have flames anymore. He has a demon on his leg, and you have to wonder why that is. Harada already said that Jun Kazama will come back. He didn't say that specifically, but he says we're going to keep that character in mind because she's very important to the story of Jin and Kazuya. And what is Tekken 8 going to be about? Jin and Kazuya. Kazuya really just wants to destroy and destroy and destroy. Jin wants to specifically destroy the Mishima bloodline, himself included. The Tekken story gets a lot of flack for being bad, but when you focus on the characters and what they're doing and why they're doing it, I think the why they're doing it is so much more fascinating than what they're doing. If you look at a character's story, it will look stupid, it won't make sense, but if you look at why, that's when things start to change, right? But that's going to be it. With that being said, this is going to be the end of the video. Thank you guys for listening to me, theorize and go here, go there, and talk about the lore. Thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.